My name's Richard, Head of Research at Dyson Farming. I've been here about 4 years now. Seem to have made a career inadvertently out of working with scientists and practitioners of research, kind of acting as that link in between the two kind of communities aren't the best at talking to each other. I'm not a scientist myself, but I work with teams of scientists, kind of making sure that their research is implemented on farm and put into practice effectively. I work for Dyson Farming. We are a relatively young company in terms of farming. You're usually talking how many generations of farms have been together for a farming business. We started off in 2012, where Sir James Dyson of technology and engineering and vacuums decided that farming was the industry for him. This really kind of manifested up in Lincolnshire. He saw that that's where the kind of prime arable land is. You can grow most things in Lincolnshire. So there's a real focus of kind of moving up there, about 36,000 acres, and then also holdings down in Oxfordshire, and then those two in the southwest are where the family live, and there's different holdings over there as well. It's quite innovative in terms of farming terms. The average age of a farmer, I think I was reading the other day, I think it's 62. Our average age of an employee is 34. It's the entire kind of premise of the organisation is investing in people and innovation to kind of, as we say there, transform categories. And we try and make sure that isn't just kind of words we put up there. We try and make sure it's something that we're actually kind of living and breathing and doing. And some recent examples of that, instead of just farming crops like we are here, we're now moving into food production. We're putting in a brewery in Oxfordshire, so going in a 60,000 hectolitre brewery down there. Going into rapeseed oil production. We currently sell all our oils to rape. It goes off to go into Farrington oils, which is sold in Waitrose. We've looked at that supply chain and thought, well, why aren't we doing it ourselves? So we're starting now to become food producers, and we can really tell the story from the field all the way to the shelf of what we're doing, and kind of control that narrative, and kind of really talk about kind of what inputs we've done on the farming side to create the products that we have. So how do we do that? How do you start with a culture that does that? And it all kind of comes from our founder, Sir James. He spent 5 years in his garage and did his 5,126 prototypes. He had an inkling that the existing vacuums at the time, he had an inkling that as the bag filled up, the equipment became less efficient and used more power. And he really kind of sat kind of doing his prototypes using cardboard boxes. I think the story is he drove his wife completely mad by doing it, but at the end of it, he really kind of he knew what he was doing, and it was all what he did was based on facts, evidence, and data, and that's something that we try to take forward within our business and within our culture on how we approach farming. So I draw this into farming. When I write the slides, I kind of always end up procrastinating into something else, and I ended up making a big list about all the kind of job opportunities we have at Dyson Farming. And this is what farmers today have to deal with. So the standard family farmer would have 2-3 people working on it. They would have to emanate all these kind of job roles themselves usually, or outsource them. It's no wonder they're all kind of grumpy and marching around London with the tractors all the time. But what I'm trying to say is it's hard work being a farmer. It's really kind of a lot of different skills and a lot of different attributes required to make it work. And what's something that's quite unique about what Dyson Farming does is that we don't outsource any of this. These are all people that are brought into our business, 200 of us, all kind of feeding into the same strategy and approach to farming. So it all began in 2012. Kind of the main thing to kind of point out here is it started off for the first 5 years called beeswax farming. The family were really, Sir James talks a lot about it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 20 minutes to kind of smash it to smithereens. So we spent a lot of our early years kind of undercover, called beeswax farming, while the land acquisition was taking place. And we bought our kind of key holdings up in Lincolnshire. And then in 2018, we were destined to be allowed a bit closer to the brand with beeswax Dyson. And then 2022, we were finally allowed into the fold. We're into the family. When you see that big D turn into the little d, like the technology, we're properly in them, but we're not there yet. But it's been an exciting journey, and that the early journey has really been about growth. Buying land. Land doesn't come on the market very often, and it's been a real kind of journey of doing that. And one of the LST slides up in the outside was about getting more from less. That's now our approach. We've got to the land mass we want to, and now we need to get better at what we do. We need to get more from what we do, and hopefully that's what I'm going to kind of show you some examples of that today. Very briefly, we farm in our 5 different categories. The food section's doing all the food production, all the arable farming. So you've got kind of wheat crops, barley going into beer, potatoes, peas, strawberries, which I'm going to come on to in a minute. Then we're putting some of those crops into large anaerobic digestion plants. So we're powering about 10,500 homes, which goes into that. The heat and the waste products that the digestate that come with that, we use those in this circular system. So the heat comes out and we pump it into a glass house that allows us to grow strawberries out of season. Environmentally, we're looking to put the environment back in a better position than what we found it. We want to be a natural, an excellent host for biodiversity and wildlife, and that's something that kind of really kind of sits at the core of our business. I'm going to come back onto research, so I won't touch on that now. But property-wise, in that land acquisition era, obviously a lot of property came along with it. We're really kind of investing in Lincolnshire property to kind of provide houses for local people and as well as our staff. As I'm sure like many organisations do, we spend a lot of time talking about what our challenges are, and it's almost a kind of a quarterly process. This I've just put up here for kind of an example. What our most recent one was is about a fortnight ago. We did this with our management team. I went like the two that we're really kind of focusing at the moment are fertiliser and fuels. When we're talking about decarbonising a agricultural process, those are your two big things that are really kind of making a big difference to us. So if we can find a way of eliminating ammonium nitrates as a fertiliser, that's a big win for us. And we're looking at quite a few different things. The technology isn't there yet though, but we're in the game and can look at it. Same goes for fuels. We're burning a lot of red diesel in our tractors. It's quite kind of, the tractors are very hungry. As they get bigger and bigger over the last kind of 20, 30 years, they then need more fuel. Looking at things of taking like methane off our AD plants and using them to fuel the tractors is all very good, the technology, but again, the kind of the logistics of making it work isn't there yet. But you've got to be in the game to kind of get there with it. So for the purpose of today, I want to talk about kind of 3 different areas of kind of values that we have, and kind of frame it around that. The first being British and better. So why we feel that producing better tasting, more nutritious food grown in Britain is kind of integral to what we're doing. And I'm going to use the example of our strawberry glasshouse because it's a bit more kind of sexy and fun than talking about a field of wheat. So we are growing British strawberries in the off peaks of the season. So a traditional UK grower would be growing in polytunnels from probably May until September. We're actually growing from March until May and then September until January, and using kind of technology and innovation to do that. The big thing for us has been kind of, as a farmer, it's quite hard to retain your brand. You're usually selling your product into a big kind of homogenous kind of part of wheat, which kind of then goes into a kind of UK or global market. It's very hard to kind of at the end of the day say I'm Farmer Richard and that my wheat went into that product. It's very kind of hard to do that, and that's something that we're trying to kind of work on. How do we change? The first place where we could do that within our business is strawberries. We built our 30-acre glass house with Waitrose as a strategic partner. We had this infamous meeting where they came to kind of do the finishing touches of kind of our deal with them. They were going to market all the fruit, and they put up a picture of the punnet like that, and nowhere did it say Dyson on it. And we said we're not doing all this for you to do that. And it's really kind of the kind of age-old tale between the retailers and the farmers where they kind of really take that kind of and run away with it. So we walked away from the deal at the final moment. Spent a year with Berry Gardens, which is a cooperative marketing group, and then we finally landed with Marks and Spencer's, who now market most of our fruit on their Red Diamond range, which is the premium range that they offer. We've also just onboarded Sainsbury's as well, just to kind of as a bit of a risk management. Yeah, so this is our glass house. It's 30 acres, and that in the background over here, the domes there, that's the AD plant producing energy, and the waste heat coming out of there going into the glass house, allowing us to create this environment where the fruit plants feel that it is in the summer, and we're also supplementing that with LED light to kind of help us on that journey. It's about 1,500 tons of fruit going away from there a year, over 30 acres. I've just been working on a project putting in planning permission to double that site, and then it'll probably be no more. We won't get any bigger than that. We are looking at other different fruits. We know what we're kind of in a bit of a stuck in a loop of kind of, we know what we're doing with strawberries. So do we stick with that or do we look at other things? And so looking at maybe raspberries, I don't know. We're in a bit of a kind of a tussle with that at the moment. We've got a lot of development with robotics and innovation within this glasshouse. These are the strawberry pickers there. Again, this is a technology we're having to see the future of, and kind of thinking, why won't it work as good as it could do today? And hanging on in there. These robots pick about 30 kilos a day when a person would pick 30 kilos an hour. So, but you've got to be in it to kind of see to see the future. And that planning permission that we just put in for the new glasshouse, it's got those robots in mind, being the workforce there. So you're kind of thinking the long-term vision there. And yeah, and sustainability. The final bit here is the kind of the removal of packaging. That's a really kind of big journey towards our decarbonising the glass house. And yeah, we're looking at different kind of ways of growing different crops, which could be used as packaging, things like miscanthus and things like that, to help us on that way. That was the glass house. That's something quite kind of really different of what you can do kind of with a checkbook of that size, and kind of a mentality of kind of taking on innovation and technology. The technology side for us is kind of a big thing. We basically sometimes we really feel like we're data farmers rather than crop farmers, and it's a bit of a hard journey. And I really do kind of have genuine kind of respect for farmers and how they had to deal with technologies. I put up this. This is how many different software platforms that we have just to grow one field of wheat, and so that's no different. Other farmers are growing one field of wheat. That's not just a Dyson problem. That's an any farmer problem. And so to kind of get that wheat from seed to on a lorry going out the farm, these are all the different areas where you're kind of either taking data off to use for your farming, or you're entering it in. And sadly, there is one common denominator for all of them, and that's that they run off the dreaded Excel. We've in our journey we've realized that we have a business that's basically running off Excel and WhatsApp, and had to do a bit of a kind of a U-turn on how we approach it. So as part of that journey, we've designed and built our own software program, which all of those pieces of programs that I put up a moment ago, they all feed into, they all are the one point of truth, with kind of 36,000 acres of people dotted around the country. People having, it's kind of, it sounds so archaic saying it, but having kind of people running off one spreadsheet on one farm and one on another, I think it's a kind of universal farming problem. We've developed a program of software where it all kind of consolidates in one place, and we've all got one source of truth. That one there, the Hall of Shame on the side, that's something that's kind of, we always urge other farmers, if you're going to take one thing away from today, is to do this. And our Hall of Shame is we have our 20 bottom fields in terms of how much we produce from them. We're always working as a company to take those 20 bottom fields out of the bottom, and that might be putting them into environmental schemes or woodland, or it might be kind of addressing a different problem. But we always say this to other farmers, always focus on kind of getting those ones out and kind of getting them moving. And when they come back a couple of years later, I think kind of we hear some good success stories in that. This is a program which we will be looking to release to the industry, probably not for another kind of 3 or 4 years. We need a kind of a good few years using it ourselves under our belt to really understand the kind of the capabilities of it, before we kind of took that on a journey. Now, carbon accounting. I always kind of cringe a bit when I talk about this, because it can, especially with a room of farmers, it can go either way. We have the family gave us a target 2.5 years ago. They came out of the blue. They said, whatever your carbon emissions are today, then we want you to reduce them by 80% by 2035. And that's really kind of focused our mind on how do we do that. That's a big step for us. And those we can do all the kind of nice kind of things around the edges that we enjoy doing, kind of planting cover crops, putting in hedgerows, putting in trees. Those things we enjoy doing and we do it as part of our business. That's not going to get us to that target. We need to be taking out that fertilizer and fossil fuels. And carbon accounting for a farmer is pretty poor. It's a really kind of quite a minefield, I'd say, to put it lightly. We last year, we have different calculators like other industries do for agriculture. We used 5 last year, and just as a bit of an exercise to see kind of like what the source of truth was. We're 29,000 tons difference between the highest and the lowest. And so farmers are trading this, and they've not even got consistent approaches to how you measure it, and that's really kind of left us feeling a bit disillusioned about how we approach this. So there aren't set standards in the industry for how to go about it, which feeds in very nicely with we're very proud partners with the Light Science Technologies guys. This is about 2 years ago, around that moment when we were having a bit of a kind of a head scratching moment about what on earth do we do. If you want to measure your own greenhouse gas emissions on your farm, you typically have to have these kind of quite big chambers going along the rows like that, with pipes going from each other. It costs thousands of pounds to do. They're really hard to move. They're really hard to kind of do anything in terms of kind of quite adaptable with. And so along came a project where we worked with Craig and his colleagues in the LST team to help address this and develop a way of measuring greenhouse gas emissions that is designed around the farmer and designed around what the kind of practitioner of it can do. And this is what we've come up with. We're still we're year 2 into a 3-year project where we're going with this. I was saying to Craig, we have about 25,000 visitors, usually farmers, coming for a nose, coming around our farms every year, and we always show them this, and it really does genuinely prick their ears. I put it up on Twitter the other day, and the president of the NFU is probably means a bit more to me than anything else, but yeah, he came on and he kind of said this is brilliant, and so it's really kind of where we see the future of our industry. And when we are moving to negotiate directly with the retailers, for example, if I use the example, we had Morrison's out the other day, and we were talking about we're growing a low input potato, which is quite hard to do. Potatoes generally require a lot to create all those ridges and things, require a lot of soil movement, and they require a lot of ag chemicals to help protect them from blight mainly. And we started talking to them about we're developing a low input potato, and we want to validate it with this equipment that we developed with LST. They really bit our hands off. They really kind of said, okay, if you've got the true figures here, then that's really kind of what we need from you. And relying on the setup of a different tool or calculator, I think everyone's really kind of moving away from that now. So yeah, this is where we see the future, and this is really kind of where we're kind of proud to work with the LST team. And we've obviously got other ideas of kind of other things that we can be doing. So in terms of other kind of technologies that I've picked out that are kind of being a kind of game changer for us, this is the screen. I did it on last week. I sat on our sprayer tractor. Typically when you have, oh yeah, I've got this one. So you've got your sprayer. Typically that sprayer would go through a field and spray most of the field with a herbicide. So common weeds, broadleaf weeds are kind of like things like blackgrass, really hard to kind of get rid of. You spray herbicides to do that. And the sprayer would go through the field knowing if there's blackgrass in it and spray. We've actually developed some 12 symbol cameras on the boom there. You can see them up there. Before the sprayer reaches them, the RGB cameras, they identify the exact weed and just spray that one single spot. Environmentally, sustainability wise, that's an absolute kind of key game changer for us. Is reduced our herbicide use by 80%, and we see that as being something that kind of is going to transform how crop protection and ag chemicals are used within the industry. So that's something really on the horizon for us. Finally, research and experimentation is something, like I mentioned, with Sir James sat in his garage driving his wife mad. We do a lot of kind of research, and we embrace this culture of, and I remember when I first did the job, they told me about it, and they said we embrace failure, and I thought, well, good, I got the right job for me. But it's something which we do. If somebody within our business tries something different and it doesn't go to plan, and I'm showing you the success stories here, there are so many other ones that are in the dustbin that haven't gone right. We do still hold up those people as kind of brilliant. You've tried something, you've thought outside the box, you've gone for it, and that's something that's kind of quite hard to do, and it's quite hard to kind of to emanate a culture of it. And we try and do that. So those challenges that I talked about earlier, that we're running towards them, and with energy, pace, and using the networks like the guys with LST, kind of bringing those people with the expertise, surrounding ourselves with people with the kind of similar mentality to us. And broadly speaking, we turn those challenges into our research pillars, which kind of all the things I've just kind of talked about through there today. Finally, when you ask any kind of research manager what kind of does good research, and that's, I think they'll all answer funding. there's been a real kind of good investment in farming over the last 2 to 3 years. It's gone a bit quiet since the change of government, and it's how we actually met the LST guys. It really helps us bring together different groups of people. Our one is the reduced input potatoes one that we worked with Craig and Richard and co on, and it's really been a kind of a brilliant way of introducing us to expertise that we probably wouldn't necessarily have met anywhere else. And these are just a kind of a few of the different projects that we're working on. Final slide. We're not under the illusion that kind of farming, we always need food production. Farming's always going to be there. But the analogy that we kind of tell ourselves when we're having a bad day, when it's raining in the middle of harvest or something like that, is that Sir James, just like that, Sir James came into the vacuum industry. We'd still have vacuums today if he hadn't, but the way he did come into it really can propel that industry forward and took it onto to another level. We're trying to do something similar within farming by being part of it. We want to propel it forward and do something different and share that knowledge, share that story. We're in a unified industry. It's feeling a bit segregated at the moment because of all the kind of legislation and things and the disruption, but we're trying to kind of provide a positive message. And working with teams like the LST guys has really been kind of the key area for us to doing that. We've only got 200 people within our business. We need their expertise to kind of help us drive it forward. Thank you very much.